Hey guys, Azalore here, aka Nexian, and I'm just gonna do this video real quick. I just recorded it actually, and the audio was off, so no audio unfortunately. Redo my top 5 tips of the game. It's just 5 things I thought of real quick, but you guys like, subscribe, and comment below anything else that you want to know as far as game wise. Any questions you have, I will answer them on video. We'll start with tip number 1 is elixir advantage. And I'm not talking about just using these here elixir pumps, although they are fun. I'm talking about using the right cards to counter your opponent so that you have higher elixir than him after a clash. Meaning like using the arrows, which cost 3, to counter a skeleton army costing 4, or a minion horde costing 5. Don't particularly throw a whole set of arrows against something like regular skeletons who cost 1. That's bad. Know how much damage your cards do, how much health other cards have, so that you can counter for less and keep elixir advantage. Now, tip number 2, the second most important thing in my book, is troop placement. That's knowing where to place your troops. It's going to relog me in right quick. I don't know why. And absolutely no connection here. Again, not cool. Let's connect to Wi-Fi. Troop placement, what we're talking about there is people sometimes place their troops with bad timing, and you don't keep in mind the little timer that each card has before it can activate. These barbarians, for instance, we're going to take a look at those, and you can see it says deploy time 1 second. Okay? You can see with other cards, P.E.K.K.A, he has a deploy time of 3 seconds. The Golem has a deploy time of 3 seconds. You want to set it back far enough from the enemy troop that it can fully deploy and be ready to start hitting. So you don't want, when your enemy sends a P.E.K.K.A, a mini P.E.K.K.A, you don't want to set your barbarians, or your archers, your goblins right in front of him. That's not what you want to do. You want to set them back a little bit so they can activate and start hitting. Keep that in mind throughout the entire match. Better troop placement, better chances of winning overall. My third tip, I just want to cover briefly, but because I'll go on and on. But you need to know about having an even balance. That means evenly balanced in the types of cards you have, plus evenly balanced offensively and defensively. Can your deck defend as well as it can attack? You want to have some tanks, some melee fighters in your deck. You have that in every deck, just about. You really want your tanks, your P.E.K.K.As and giants and such. Then you want range damage. Archers, spear goblins, and musketeers are of course a favorite. In addition to ranged and melee damage, you do want splash damage. You're going to come up against so many guys who are using horde troops, not singular troop cards, but lots of horde troops. You need that splash damage. And spells. Learn to use your spells. Learn the strengths and weaknesses of all the spells. Definitely the lightning, the fireball, the arrows are some really important ones. Freeze is pretty popular late game. These are things you need to know, is the spells, in order to have a good, evenly balanced deck. The fourth tip is definitely practice until perfect. So you may have just built a new deck, or you copied another deck, which is cool. If it's working, run with it. But don't battle one or two or three times and then give up on it and say, okay, I'm going to a new deck. No, you play the deck and learn its strengths and weaknesses. Find out who you're good against playing, who you're bad against playing, and what you can do to be better before you change your cards, before you change your deck. Practice that deck and you will find you get a lot better at using it. And then you'll find you know exactly which cards to switch out, and then practice it that way. See if it really was a better idea. Last final tip is how to spend these gems, shiny green little emeralds here. Well, first, if you're going to buy gems, it's okay if you can't. Game's still just as fun. But if you are, try to buy a big chunk. If you can afford the 100, that's cool. Go ahead and get that mountain of gems. You definitely get thousands more than you would buying $1 at a time. Buying $1 at a time is bad. At least get the 5 or 10. But the 20, the 50, the 100, that's the way to go if you only want to drop some money one good time. Okay? And what do you do with these gems? Well, here's what you don't do. You don't go up here and buy these treasure chests. You absolutely don't do that. They are the worst use of gems. The most important thing you do when you get your gems is you buy a lot of gold. The wagon of gold if you can afford it, if you bought the $50 or $100 pack of gems. Otherwise, a bucket or a few buckets of gold is easier to afford. You definitely need the gold. I need almost a whole bucket of gold just to upgrade any of my commons again. It's going to cost me $8,000 to upgrade to level 10 commons. I'm sure a whole lot more than that after. So get the gold, bunch of it. And what do you do with the rest of your gems? Well, you spend them wisely, opening up chest slots when they get full. When you're battling and you're on a roll, you keep a open chest slot before you go into battle. Open the silver ones first if you can. They cost less, just 18 gems. Excuse me. And they work really well at getting you lots of cards. You really want the commons more than the rares anyways, once it gets up to those high levels, unless you're spending lots and lots of money. I don't have lots and lots of money. But I have spent some. I've spent a total of $300 to date on Azalore, $0 on Nexian, and it will stay that way for both. So those were my top 5 tips. Keep them in mind. Elixir advantage, number 1. Number 2 is troop placement. Number 3 is an even balance, offensive, defensive. Keep it balanced. 4, practice until perfect. Use that deck over and over. 5, spend your gems wisely if you're going to get the gems. Open your small chests only when it's full, only when you're about to go into battle. Save the gold ones at night. Open those at night. Open the rest later. Definitely the best way to get more cards. You got any questions? Comment below. I'll make a video of it next time, and I'll see you later, guys.